James, there's this thing you speak about it a lot on Podland
Mm.
and Podnews, and it is podcasting, 2.0, right? So we can talk about
Yes.
podcasting 2.0, but before we talk about podcasting 2.0, what was podcasting 1.0? Because I think that's probably where the majority of people live, but I do want to talk about 2.0 as well.
Well, I mean, I think what we've seen in terms of podcasting over the last 15 years is that Apple saw podcasting as being a really good way of filling the iTunes music store with stuff that wasn't music and stuff that was free and stuff that was available in every country in the world. And so that's why Apple jumped in and thought, well, podcasting looks like a good idea. We'll do that. And one of the things that Apple did is they were a good custodian of podcasting. They
Mm,
kept the whole thing open. They did a few useful things in terms of setting a standard category list, requiring podcast thumbnails to be the size and the shape that they are, and all of that kind of stuff. And Apple did a really good job in 2005 of setting the standards down so that when you were in the Apple Podcasts directory, those standards were set and away you go. And then Apple sat on their hands basically for
mm,
15 years, and they've made very few changes. They've made a few, but they've made not that many changes in terms of the fundamentals of how podcasting works.
mm,
And so what podcasting 2.0 is all about is it's about taking the standard RSS feeds that we use,
mhm.
adding more information to those RSS feeds to add more features and more functionality into podcasting. And so, from a Podcasters Live point of view, one of the things that is currently being worked on is the opportunity of being able to press a button and tell everyone who is listening to your podcast that you are going live right now. And you can instantly see that in your podcast app as one example. Another example is transcripts. Which
Mhm.
bizarrely podcasting doesn't have a standard way of doing that yet within the RSS feed. Well, now there is a standard way as part of podcasting 2.0. And there are many other of these new tags that people are working on to really breathe new life into RSS and to allow it to do many more things
Mhm.
for the benefit of podcasting. So podcasting 1.0 is where most of us currently are. And podcasting 2.0 will actually enable, a lot of new and interesting things in terms of podcasting.
Excellent. And then one of those interesting things, we could talk about the podcasting app, but the one that has always I've been interested in exploring, and I haven't explored it
Mm.
yet, and I should, is the idea of value for value. I know Adam Curry and those guys have really kind of taken the lead on that. If you could explain what value for value is, because I think some people, as I had conversations with them, I think they misconstrue it for monetization, and I'm not particularly sure it is monetization. Maybe I'm wrong, but I would love to get your perspective on value
Mm.
for value and have clear that up for us.
So one of the problems when you're making a podcast and you get it sponsored is that you have a relationship with the sponsor, you have a relationship with the advertiser. The advertiser is paying you money, and so therefore, it kind of, if the advertiser. So at the moment, Podnews is being sponsored by Libsyn, and Libsyn is a great podcast company, and they are sponsoring Podnews for this month, and that's very kind of them. If there is a negative story about Libsyn that appears, then there is a question about, should I really be covering this because Libsyn are paying for the newsletter this month? Is this a good idea? And in my case, I would still cover it because well, why not? But you can see many people would find that quite compromising, and particularly if you end up saying lots of things that advertisers don't like, then you'll find it quite difficult to get hold of advertisers.